Hello, I'm Bruce Dickinson from Iron Maiden, and I'm going to be doing an interview with Ornella from COMEBACKSTAGE.
Hi Bruce, thank you very much for your time. It's an honor for me having you here.
No, thank you. Okay.
You released What Does This Button Do lately?
Correct.
And how long did it take for you to write the book?
Oh, let me see. It was probably about 2.5 months.
Oh, that's pretty quick.
Yeah, but I was working as well on tours at the same time, so
Oh,
yeah, I was quite busy.
thank God you're a good writer.
Well, I hope it's not too bad. Yeah,
And why did you write it by hand?
I'm a terrible typist.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, just two fingers like this, and and also I'm very very picky about words. So
Okay.
I like things to be spelled correctly on the page,
Okay.
and so it's very frustrating when I type badly and it doesn't work.
I imagine, yeah.
So I have to stop and correct it before I can carry on. And I don't like spell check because it's pretty stupid. And I don't like autocorrect because I sometimes use words that autocorrect is, no, you want to use this word. I'm like, fuck you, I want to use my word. So writing it actually was the best way, and I could write about 1,200 words in about 3 hours.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And who typed it up then?
Well, that is a lady in our Iron Maiden office called Mary Henry,
Okay.
and she's super cool, and she can read my handwriting, which is good because I can't.
Good that she can. And how did it feel to look back on your entire life?
Actually, it was quite funny. Actually, I must say I enjoyed it. I thought it's been quite an amusing life.
That's good.
It's been, and the best bit about it is it's not over yet.
Thank God. And just as me, you grew up with your grandparents for quite some time. How did that influence you as a person?
My my grandparents are great. My grandfather in particular was lovely because I think because my parents were very young. It's very difficult when parents are very young because they're not so far away from how old you are.
Yeah,
you know.
that's true.
Whereas grandparents are just that little bit older, and they're just, well, certainly my grandfather was. He was always just very chilled out.
Yeah.
It was always like he was always pleased to see me. He never shouted at me or anything. And it was always like, hey, yeah, sure, come for a walk. Come on, let's go. and he was great,
Really nice,
it was a really nice feeling, Grandparents, they're good people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They should live forever, actually.
Yeah, they should live forever, yeah.
And tell me how your story with Iron Maiden began.
Well, they asked me to join, but before that, I knew who they were, obviously. We worked quite closely together in some concerts with my previous band, Samson. Samson's drummer had joined Iron Maiden, so we all knew each other, It was all kind of mixed up. And so when they needed a new singer, they asked me.
Thank God.
Well, yes, it's worked, hasn't it? I hope,
Absolutely.
yeah.
But then you left for quite a while?
Yes, I was out of the band for about, I guess about 5 years. Yeah.
And did you take that time to find yourself, or what didn't work?
I became, well, I did all my airline pilot exams to become an airline pilot, and I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 solo albums.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
And is it? Do you like it more to record an album with a band or more the solo album? Does it even make a difference or not?
Well, I always treat a solo album. The only reason it's a solo album is because they stick my name on it because they think it might sell more. I always treat uh, a band. I always treat every album as being a band composition, even if there isn't really a band. I think of it as a band. Um, but I tend to work now with a guy called Roy Z, who and we basically we work together. He's a producer, so I go to him with ideas. He's a great guitar player, so between his guitar playing, my ideas, and we can program drums and things like that. We can do some good demos, and then we turn it into a band to actually record it.
And will there be another solo album soon?
Well, I wouldn't say soon. It's a slow work in progress because obviously there's, Iron Maiden is the priority.
Yeah, for sure. And you're super successful with Iron Maiden for years now. You're very much looked up to from many people and many young bands. Is there an advice you would give to a young band who would like to make it big nowadays?
Well, I think they have a tough job actually, because digital downloading not digital downloading now in itself, but the result of Napster and things like that. Even though downloading is now kind of mainstream, Napster destroyed the concept of music having any value, which is terrible. I think the guy should be locked up. Maybe he has been. He deserves to be.
Hopefully.
But it was an act of pure selfish destruction. And what he did was he used the enthusiasm of the audience.
Yeah, that's true.
Because the audience is not guilty. They could get all this great music for free. Why wouldn't they do that? They didn't realize that what they were doing was destroying an entire culture.
It's true.
So for a band like us, actually we still make records, but we pretty much accept that we don't really make hardly any money out of making the record. We still do it because we have to, because we love it, and we have to do new music. But a great thing with us is we can tour and make money live. Other bands who are coming up doing great music, they don't get that luxury.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's hard to see, where a whole generation of musicians is going to come from now. People who are brilliant musicians don't get paid for doing amazing jobs. I get paid when they sell a book, right? So you tell me the difference to this. I took 2.5 months to write this book, right? And so I get paid a royalty.
Yeah.
And actually, it's very reasonable. It's very fair. If this book was a record, and I took 2.5 months to make it, I would have to give it away, because people will pay for a book, but they won't pay for an album.
It's really sad.
That is really sad, and it's wrong. Now, I don't know where we're going to get to in the future. It's possible that the digital downloading world will start to, charge a little bit more for money, and artists will get paid a little bit more. I mean,
they started actually with that with YouTube and Spotify, but it's kind of nothing.
Yeah, it's kind of nothing, exactly. And when you consider that most people, when they sit down and listen to an album, they may be, they might drink a pint of beer or, you know, have a can of an energy drink or something else like that. So they'll pay the price of a can of energy drink,
that's true.
but they won't pay the price for the album.
It's frustrating.
And it's sad. And I think everybody needs to be educated about the fact that music has real value and musicians have real value. They spend years working on their craft, you know, to entertain people. So it is sad, but the love of it means that there's still plenty of great music around.
That's true. But what advice would you give them to make it big and to be to grow as a band like yours is?
Well, I think it's even more important now to have some kind of identity that really sets you apart. Like it's not enough to be just good. It's not enough to be just above average. You've got to be really outstanding. And I think you need to have, always in music, you need to have songs which touch people's emotions. I think perhaps as well, I've no basis for saying this really. It's just a feeling I get. But the feeling I get is that because of streaming and things like that, people are listening more to different types of music. To more, they're not just listening to the same little narrow segment of music, and that's good because it will mean that you'll get all these different hybrid streams of music, and actually, it's almost going to return music potentially back to, you know, where it was in the 60s and 70s, you know.
Let's hope so.
Well, you know, you do hope so, yeah. But you know, it's tough for musicians, but they love it, and I've got to say, there's a lot of really great, you know, young players around doing really cool stuff.
Do you have a favorite young band or something?
Oh well, yeah.
I know your son has a band.
Yeah, they both have bands. One's Shapes and As Lions. Yeah. So I'm very proud of both of them. They're both doing new albums at the moment.
Yeah.
And I've you know, I mean, obviously, you know, I get to hear some of the material.
That's
so cool. Really, really good stuff from both of them, and both different.
Yeah.
Both so different, you know.
I'm really looking forward to hearing it.
Yeah.
And besides of the music, you're also a pilot. Why did you decide for a Boeing 747?
Well, it's the biggest one I could find. As simple as that.
And is it more fun to fly a big one than a little sporty machine or something?
No, it's good. Good to fly anything really. I mean, they're all they're not the same, but they're all rewarding in their different ways, you know.
Okay. And what was your worst experience as a pilot?
Not being able to fly.
When was that?
No, when you're grounded, the plane breaks down or something else like that. It really pisses you off, you know, because you're stuck somewhere that you don't want to be, you know, thinking, wow, you know, this is unfortunate.
And your last chapter is about the cancer. And when I was reading the book, I thought that you were really strong and determined when you got your results. So like, okay, so I have cancer. What the hell do we do now? But what was your biggest fear, or have you been afraid?
Oh yeah, I mean, there's no question about being afraid. That's, you know, that's normal. But you can't let the fear
take you over.
You can't let the fear dominate your life, because what you're afraid of is, you know, well, obviously you're afraid you might die. This might happen. But you're not gonna die. When I got diagnosed anyway, I thought, well, I'm not going to die tomorrow, or next week, or next month, or actually, I might get hit by a truck. And I'd die way too soon, So let's think about this, And I thought, well, I have to get through the treatment, and then we see what happens. So I need to save all my energy so that if the treatment works, and it seemed likely that it probably would. If the treatment works, then my big problem is going to be getting over the treatment, not getting over the cancer.
Yeah.
So I thought, save your energy for getting over the treatment. Let's assume that it works. Obviously, you're anxious. You've got no idea. Your anxiety, and so because when the treatment's finished, you have to wait for 3 months.
Hope that it doesn't come back.
No, before they do the scan to see whether it's worked.
Okay.
So those 3 months, you're sitting there going, okay, what do we do? What do we do? Can't do anything. Can't make any plans. Can't do whatever.
It'd be horrible.
And well, you just try and get back to normal, and try and put some weight on, and try and get eating, and try and heal up, and all this stuff. When I got my my results, that he said, yeah, it's gone.
Thank God.
I went, gone? I said, gone? I mean, gone? All of it? He went, yeah, all of it. It's gone. It's good. It's gone. Completely gone. I went,
perfect.
And I just stood there. I sat there going, thank you. and I went out, and I was in a dream.
Yeah.
I couldn't.
I imagine.
I went down in the elevator. I was like, it's gone. And there was like 6 months of my life. It was like snipped out and gone. I went, wow, gone.
Thank God.
Yeah, thank God. I think. Do I miss it?
You don't.
I don't. But that was a
sure
weird
you
thing.
don't.
That was a strange thing. I'm like, it's just like, because I so much effort and had gone into my relationship with this lump. With getting
you worked on it.
But and this lump was part of me.
Yeah.
I mean, I made it, right?
But it's not a good thing you made.
Not a good thing, no. But I thought, oh my God, it's gone. I thought, well, I suppose I'd better get on with something, but I haven't really got any plans right now. So, yeah, it was straight. It was brilliant. I mean, total, like.
I imagine.
Yeah. So anyway, fingers crossed. So I keep going back to my checkups, and it's all gone. So good.
It's fine. And looking back over your life, would you do everything exactly the same way, or do you regret something?
No, I can't honestly say I regret anything, because a different question would be, have I made mistakes? And the answer is absolutely.
We all have.
But the mistakes and learning from the mistakes take you down the path you are, that's got you to where you are now. And that's okay, because this is a pretty good place, so I'm happy. So I think, well, that's that. So you can't change anything retrospectively. Shouldn't do, I don't think.
So we arrived at my last two questions, which I ask everyone I do an interview with.
Yeah.
And my first one would be, if you should convince a young person to listen to rock music, which song would you show him or her, and why?
Oh, wow. Okay. I would say Little Wing by Jimi Hendrix. And Whole Lot of Love by Led Zeppelin.
Why?
Because one of them makes you want to cry and one of them makes you want to jump up and down and have sex.
That's a good reason for me. And my last question would be, if you could have kind of a fantasy dinner with 3 persons of your choice, it doesn't matter if alive or dead or whatever, who would you invite?
Jesus Christ, Mao Zedong, and the Prophet Muhammad.
What a cool dinner. So, Bruce, thank you very, very much for your time. Yeah. The last words are yours.
Yes, live long and prosper, as Mr. Spock would say.
Thank you.